It was like MAGA guy versus 20 far left progressives. I honestly believe several of them would have killed me if given the opportunity, truly. And you all know my guy Joey, who works for me, and he said to me after, he said, "Dave, I made a choice halfway through that if one of them was going to attack you, I was going to get involved." Anyway, for 2 hours and 55 minutes, I think I did a very nice job. I did have one blip moment where I kind of blanked on something, and I fully grant that. And the internet is what it is.
My favorite thing about this whole situation, the video that you just watched, is how their eyes are glazing over as he's talking. Like, look at their eyes. Look at Jillian Michaels. She's like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? I'm having this guy. Dave Rubin embarrassed himself yet again by agreeing to do the Jubilee surrounded debate. I don't know why he did it. It was a really bad idea. And I think he's beginning to realize that. So the debate, One MAGA, 20 Far Left, as it was titled, I gotta say, had some pretty strong debaters challenging Dave Rubin, and on multiple occasions, he was having difficulty countering what they were saying. At one point, when it came to Trump's economic accomplishments, he purports that Trump has done wonderful things for the economy, but when he's asked to name how he's improved the economy, he failed miserably. I'd love to play videos from the debate, but unfortunately Jubilee is Nazi-like when it comes to punishing anybody who does so. I don't know why, so I don't wanna get a copyright strike, and I'm just gonna have to describe how terrible Dave did. But if you don't believe me, all you have to see is how Dave talked about the debate after the fact, where he tried to say that he thought they were trying to kill him, okay? We'll get to the videos in just a second, but first, a few more details about the debate itself. So what he claims he blanked on is an understatement to say the least. So halfway through the encounter, liberal social media personality Parker Sedgwick stepped up to ask Rubin simply, what is one main metric that Donald Trump has made better off since he got into office? An example would be GDP, unemployment, inflation, etc. He elaborated. And here's what happened next. Rubin just said, right now, first off, the big beautiful bill was just passed last year. It's kicking in right now. It's kicking in now. So we're going to now see the results of that, like even the tariffs. So let's do tariffs. Are you for or against tariffs? At that point, Sedgwick responds and says, I'm against the universal tariff. So what's the main metric that he made better off? And Rubin just says, well, first of all, what? Like, I remember that moment because he was so obvious he was stumped. Now, the aftermath of that debate was not pleasant for Rubin. For instance, here's some of the criticism he received. Mehdi Hasan said, I have watched a lot of Jubilees and I have never seen anyone get their ass handed to them this badly, just embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And by the way, Mehdi Hasan debated Patrick Bet-David on Islam, and that was a fiery debate, and I will say Mehdi Hasan did well. But let's turn back to Rubin's Cope Sesh, because during his latest Actual Friends podcast with Jillian Michaels, Sage Steele, and Dr. Drew Pinsky, there was a lot of excuses made for why he performed so poorly, and most of those excuses had to do with the conduct of his detractors. Take a look.
And I kind of didn't want to do it because I've just been through enough versions of the internet and dealt with the hate and the whatever. My team really wanted me to do it. I was like, you know what? I'll give it. I'll do it. Whatever. It's not a big deal. However, I knew going in how much hate I was going to get. Like, it's just baked in, and how much these lefties, particularly these radical lefties online, they despise me because I was once a lefty, and they, once someone walks, they hate you more. They hate you more than if you're just an old fashion, Ben Shapiro conservative. They know how to deal with you. The entire thing, it was 3 hours. It was gross.
That is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Dave Rubin is under the impression that you think we're jealous? Like we want to claim you? No one wants to claim you, Dave. The left doesn't want you, the right doesn't want you. Seems like the only people who have even a modicum of respect for Dave Rubin are the individuals who clownishly agreed to do a debate called Actual Friends with him. And those are the clips that we're watching right now. So there's more. The cope doesn't end there because Rubin believes that he was actually experiencing something life-threatening, that his life was in danger as he was engaging in this debate. And that's the real reason why he flopped. Take a look.
I could feel the daggers coming at me. The ones that mostly they had horrible scowls on their faces, but the ones that smiled at me actually seemed like the most dangerous because they were like Joker smiles. And well, not kidding at all, guys.
Dave, that was the part that drove me crazy. If I were sitting in that seat where you were, and all that contempt and the weird Joker smiles, it was so distracting and so unpleasant. You can't have discourse. I don't know how you pulled it off.
You know, truly, in some weird way, I just was like, you know what, I get hate, I get love, it is what it is. I'll just sit here and do it. But to sit around 20 people that have nothing but hatred for you, they offered nothing. And I honestly believe several of them would have killed me if given the opportunity.
Drew Pinsky, you don't know how Dave Rubin, in your words, pulled it off? Did you watch the debate? He didn't pull anything off, okay? Like, the only thing he pulled off was whatever was left of his reputation, okay? Like, pulled it off, like there's no reputation left. The guy bombed, and he is blaming it on everyone else without taking any responsibility for the fact that he knows nothing. He's never thought through any of these issues. He's never had arguments, substantive arguments. There's no rationale for believing what Dave believes because he doesn't care. That's the problem with Dave. Dave is not a political ideologue, with the exception of Israel. On that, he's always been consistent, and he's a hardcore Zionist. I mean, I think that he's in the same camp as Barry Weiss. He's a Zionist fanatic. But other than that, he couldn't care less about these political issues. He's intellectually lazy, no intellectual curiosity whatsoever, has a difficult time explaining the rationale behind his political positions, which is why it was effortless for him to go from TYT, where he purported to be some progressive, to suddenly, vacationing with Peter Thiel in Hawaii and being a right winger. No, classical liberal first, and then now a Trump supporting right winger. Right, okay. He didn't pull anything off, Drew. Nothing, okay, nothing. And lashing out at the debaters who were able to stump him because he knows nothing is so pathetic. Do you need your safe space, Dave? You need your safe space? These are the people who would clown on members of the left when they wanted safe spaces when it came to discussions on things like rape. Because if you've been a victim of that type of assault in the past, it might be triggering to hear about it. But God forbid, they're given safe spaces. When it comes to Dave Rubin, he needs safe spaces from people who've actually thought through their political positions. It's so pathetic. Anyway, we're not done yet. Believe it or not, there's more. So Rubin is still feeling pretty good, not upset at all about how much he bombed in that performance. And that's why he's talking about it a week later. There's more, take a look at this.
One of the interesting things about the internet now is nothing's sticky anymore. So for 2 hours, my Twitter was lighting up and people were saying horrible things to me. And I basically was like, I'm going out to lunch. And then, and then it's over. I kid you not, that when that thing ended, the first thing I wanted to do was just go to the bathroom so I could wash my face. Like several of them smelled. Their breath was bad. Their hands were slimy. I think a couple of them were hopped up on Adderall. Like it was just gross more than anything else.
Let's give them time. Let's hope and pray that they just slow down and educate themselves and stop focusing on what looks the best on your bumper sticker.
They smell. I had to wash my face and they smell. Okay. You had no response to their counterpoints because you are an empty vessel to be used as a tool by any political group that's willing to fund your ass. That's the reality. I can't believe he agreed to this debate. Look, I've been asked to do Jubilee. I won't do it. They don't pay. So like the idea, and it takes hours and hours of your day. It's not like a quick 1 hour session, you're done. They want like half the day and they don't pay you. And on top of that, they'll copyright strike you if you use the clips from the debate. So that's the reason why I refuse to do it. But would I love to debate 20 people on an issue I'm passionate about? Of course, because I care about the issues. What does Dave Rubin care about other than very clearly grifting? And more importantly, Jillian, what are you doing with your life? Like, is this what you envisioned for yourself? Providing cover for a guy who has no idea well, to be fair, she has no idea what she's talking about. She thinks that Dave Rubin is a geopolitical expert. So anyway, we'll end with Jillian Michaels because she apparently knows how Dave Rubin feels because she felt the same way after a debate with Sam Seder.
I did have a run-in with a radical leftist recently, which I mentioned to you, Dave, and I experienced something very similar. I had a conversation with Sam Seder, and literally they launched a bot campaign on my YouTube, flagged all of my videos for demonetization. I have something called LifeLock to protect my credit. I have never in my life seen it warn you of death threats on social media. I had, as of last week, it stopped now finally, like 95 death threats on social media. They sent bots. I have like on the one video that we did together, there are 9,000 comments and 100,000 views. So Red Seat had to deal with the back end of my channel because they thought I was like buying engagement. It was a nightmare. They're the same people cut from the same cloth. It is exactly what you dealt with. And you get to the point where you're like, all right, you know what? I really want civil discourse. But there is a faction of the left that is truly mentally unwell.
I hate that I keep finding myself in situations where I'm defending people who have like made a point to attack me unfairly constantly, but it's okay. Sam Seder showed an astonishing level of patience with Jillian Michaels in that debate, which, to be fair, I couldn't get through all of it just because of how insufferable she is and she doesn't listen. So like Sam would calmly try to explain his perspective, or more importantly, you can't have a debate unless you're both, informed at the same level at least on what the facts of whatever you're debating happens to be. And in this case, there's a lot of catching up for Jillian Michaels. So Sam even went out of his way to explain concepts to her, explain historical context. Like, it was amazing, and I don't think that I would have that level of patience. In fact, I know for a fact because I used to host a show with her and I didn't have that level of patience. But okay, let's address some of her claims here. So she's alleging that the left has launched a harassment campaign against her, threatening her life because she failed that debate so badly. Do you have evidence of that? And by the way, so she says that she was accused of buying engagement. Yeah, Jillian, I mean, if that's true, and honestly, I wouldn't take your word for it, but if that's true, if you provide receipts showing that you've been accused of buying engagement, it might have something to do with the fact that your videos perform so poorly in general, but the debate with Sam Seder got a lot of views. It's because he's got a big audience and people like to see debates between two ideological opposites. Look, the biggest point I wanna make here is I think a lot of people are under the impression that, I can just do a career change and be like a political commentator on social media and YouTube. It's not a big deal, anyone can do it. No, anyone can't do it. I know this is gonna come as a shock to some people, but like you actually have to care about the substance. You have to care about the issues. You have to be passionate about it because it's a grind. It is a grind to keep up with what's actually going on, to investigate what's being claimed in legacy media, for instance, and ensure that you do your own fact checking and you're not being duped by narratives that are being pushed by the powerful in our legacy media. Like, these are things that I've never seen Jillian Michaels or Dave Rubin show any interest in whatsoever. So when we have conversations about quote unquote grifters, it's amazing to me that people who are actual grifters never really get accused of being that. And that's what I see with people like Dave Rubin and Jillian Michaels. How do you go from being a fitness guru to now being a political commentator? Like, what was the transition? Like, what evidence do you have in your history or your past to show that you have any expertise or any real interest in these matters? And so if you think you're gonna pull a fast one on your audience, I just think you're gonna get caught. And you're definitely gonna get caught if you agree to debates like this, where 20 people are surrounding you and challenging your claims. To say that you were in fear for your life during the Jubilee debate, it's like the best example of adding insult to injury. Don't do that. And look, Dave Rubin did say one thing that's correct. Like, it is a fast news cycle. People do forget things pretty quickly. They move on to the next. But every time Dave Rubin appears on, let's say, the Piers Morgan show, every time Dave Rubin appears on my YouTube feed, which isn't often, to be honest with you, you know what I'm gonna think about? Remember the time Dave Rubin bombed in that Jubilee debate and then whined about it and engaged in a cope sesh where he said he was in fear for his life, and then proceeded to call the debaters smelly, like a child. And I lied, one final thing. Jillian, stop with the acting. It's it's not authentic, people can tell. So like everyone knows what you're doing, just be normal, be a normal human being. I'm giving you good advice, okay? But anyway, listen, the best thing you can do after failing at something is learn from your mistakes and get better. Dave Rubin has no interest in that. He just wants to make excuses for why he sucks. But he does suck, and that's the reality of the situation. All right.
My brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high-level important ideas.
Homeboy's brain is permanently in recovery mode, okay? Let's just keep it 100.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.